Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. It was a crazy weekend, especially for those of you that were enjoying the Premier League. That crazy final moments when Manchester City basically, we thought they were going to lose it, right? Because they were down 2-0. And then they basically, in 5 minutes, they changed the whole dynamic of there. And then I have to also say a special shout out to Jesse Marsh and Leeds United. You guys actually stayed in the Premiership, and you gotta give it to that American coach. Jesse Marsh is a man. He's a trailblazer, man. He is doing some big things. So hopefully, he does well, and he doesn't have to, you know, end his premier career short like it did with Bob Bradley. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about the June roster for the U.S. men's national team, right? So we're going to go in depth and kind of go around and say, what do I think about the roster so far? So the roster dropped last week, and I wanted to wait a while because you never know, especially with injuries and all that. Because I wanted to stay safe because you've known this, right? Like I never try to uh, do a reaction of the roster up until the game started. So in about 10 days from now, when June starts, June 1st, that's going to be our first game. So that is going to be awesome. So we're going to go down and we're going to see who is going to play, who has a good chance to play that game, because there's going to be two friendlies. Remember, USA versus Morocco on Wednesday, June 1st at 4:30 Pacific time. And then on Sunday, June 5th, the United States is going to play Uruguay. They're both home games, by the way. And then afterwards, there's going to be two Nations League games: USA versus Grenada at home, and then USA versus Salvador away. So hopefully there could be some redemption, especially at that El Salvador game. Hopefully the US can be a little bit more pragmatic. So I don't know how El Salvador is going to be in that game. Since it's the summer, it could be a full stadium, but at the same time, knowing that they didn't make it to the World Cup, who knows? So let's go to what we're here for the US roster. So we're going to go down with the goalkeeper list, and we're going to see how each of the goalkeepers stack up. So the first thing that you see right there, Ethan Horvath. All right, Ethan Horvath from Nottingham Forest. All right. So for a while, Ethan Horvath was actually was a contender of being the number one keeper in Nottingham Forest. But it was only due because of the number one keeper of that team was basically injured. But now, out of injury, it doesn't look like Ethan Horvath is going to be the number one keeper anytime soon, right? So we have to kind of ask ourselves: Is it time for Ethan Horvath to go to another club team? I think whoever is the agent of Ethan Horvath needs to kind of assess, like, this is a World Cup here, right? And crazy things could happen, right? Because we've seen it happen. We see Zach Steffen, Matt Turner, they've been injured for most of the time, and we need a keeper ready to go, And Ethan Horvath at the time was that keeper, especially during the 2020 year and the 2021. So I feel like Ethan Horvath needs to make a move. I don't know if it has. Maybe it could be a move to MLS, or maybe another move in Europe that they really do need a keeper, right? Because it is just frustrating that none of our keepers, with the exception of Matt Turner, is a number one spot goalkeeper, right? So that is my assessment for that. Let's go next. Zach Steffen. Zach Steffen, same thing as Ethan Horvath, right? He has been injured so many times. He's made some really bad mistakes on the back. He's not a good passer from the back. We've seen it many, many times, and we remember that goal, what in which happened when he was playing the FA Cup, in which he did a really bad pass, and oh my gosh, it was just terrible. Everybody was on top of them, and like and that happens especially if you do not seize the moment and you don't have enough games. I think Zach Steffen either needs to go to a championship side that needs a goalkeeper, or he needs a loan move because sure you win some trophies, they won trophies, but he only what played like maybe 3 4 times. That's not enough. That's not enough in my book. I think that we need a really seasoned goalkeeper. The next one is Matt Turner. All right, so Matt Turner has been a revelation since last year, especially that amazing Gold Cup that he did last year. And unfortunately, because of the injury that he sustained, there wasn't that much to do. There wasn't much he could have done because he had tendonitis, and there were some, rumors that he might have had frostbite, and he just got back into the rhythm of things. But now that he has signed with Arsenal, I'm not sure if for both parties. I really hope that Arsenal doesn't take him. I hope like Arsenal loans him back to New England Revolution for the rest of the season, so that way he can continue to get minutes, to be seasoned, and to get game time because play time is very important, especially from goalkeepers, so they can get that reaction time to make sure that they are um, ready for anything. And we know that Matt Turner is a shot stopper. He is the guy to do the shot stopper, right? So, but don't expect him to play him out of the back. It's just not going to happen at all. He's not the guy. He's a good shot stopper, right? But it he needs to be more confident to not play from the back. Please don't play from the back. So those are the three goalkeepers. Some admissions that I think that would have been interesting. Uh, something talking about goalkeepers. Gaga Solania. I think that I'm pronouncing that name right. He already actually uh, said in a very nice tweet that he has decided his international future, right? So let I'm trying to see if I can find that. I think I have it. Just give me one sec, because that was such an amazing thing that we have a possible world class keeper on our hands right there. So let me get this out of the way just for one moment. Let's change it up a bit. So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So this is a keeper that you really need to keep an eye on, especially he plays for the Chicago Fire, right? So Gabriel Slonina. Okay, so this is what he said. It's the dream of all athletes to be able to represent your country at the highest international level. The ability and privilege to do so is earned through hard work, perseverance, and dedication. I have always identified myself as a first generation Polish American who is very proud of my roots and heritage. My parents, as many others, immigrated to the United States to look for better opportunities and the chance to find success in a new country. I've known for a while now the unique privilege I have of being a dual national. Although I never thought much about it because I love everything about my roots and heritage, that's just me. But I know that in sports, you have to make a decision for who you want to compete for on the international stage. Being Polish means being extremely hardworking, having faith, never taking no for an answer, pushing through the hard times, taking care of your family, and I love everything about my heritage, from the people to the food to the cities. I am also extremely grateful for being given the possibility to play for Poland. With that being said, my heart is American. This country has given me and my family all the opportunities I could ask for. It's pushed me and supported me through the good and the bad. I understand the privilege of wearing the badge, and the only time I'll put my head down is to kiss it. America is home. That's who I'm going to represent. Thank you, everyone, for all the support and understanding. And USMNT. So that is one of the keepers that we will have, hopefully representing us in the 2026 and even future, because this guy is only 17 years old, right? He is really raw, but he has a tremendous potential. And there was actually a little bit of nervousness because he actually was announcing this at the same time that the roster was dropped. And a lot of people thought that because he was called in to the Polish national team as the fourth keeper, that he was going to go to Poland because he does possess a EU passport, a European passport. So that makes it easy for him to, get a work visa. So now, um, with that out of the way, he can just focus on his gameplay for the Chicago Fire. Because lately, I think ever since that picture that was taken from him, that he was given a jersey, a Polish national jersey, I think by the head coach. I think his head has been scrambling. He hasn't been doing good performances. So I think that now that that is settled, it's gone. Now he can focus on himself being a very good goalkeeper for himself and then possibly for the future national team. Right. So let's go back to the roster and let's just go down the list and I will tell you exactly what is going on with the rest of the roster. So now we're gonna go to the defenders. It's George Bello. He was a former Atlanta United, and now he's playing for a German club that I think is called Armenia Bielefeld. Bielefeld. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. He's only had a couple of starts. He's been doing okay. I think he's just fine tuning himself in it's a much higher league of pace. So I know a lot of people like to say that George Bello isn't that good, but then you got to remember how he did play really well in the Gold Cup against Mexico, and I think he's gonna have those moments. So I think what is needed right now is for him after this international window, he'll take a break. He'll recover because he had a very, very long season, right? So I think that after a much needed break, I think that's going to motivate him to play at the highest level. So I think we're pretty good there. The next person that we're looking at is Reggie Cannon. All right. So Reggie Cannon, he was both in the former Nations League, Gold Cup. He won both competitions. Um, he has played a little bit in World Cup qualifying, but he hasn't been playing well with his team in Portugal. But because of you know how thin that defense is, um, I guess Reggie Cannon is just another person that I think that he is playing well, but I think he could elevate his game a little bit more. That's just my opinion, right? Next one, Carmen Carter Vickers. Yes, a quality defender. This guy, I don't know what else needed to be done for him to be at least contention. He played a lot for the I think for Celtic, right? So for Celtic, he actually won the championship right there. I forgot which championship he won, but he has been one of the rock solid defense for that club, and he's been doing all the small things right. And I don't know, like he should have been one of those people that should have been in the last time's roster against Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. But I don't know what was going on with Berhalter's mind. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm so glad that he's there. Aaron Long, I don't know. Aaron Long, I don't know why he's there. I think ever since that injury that he had, he hasn't been the same player. I know that Greg Berhalter doesn't want to give up on players, but this guy, I'm not sure. Like I haven't seen anything exceptional from him, and he's actually had another injury a while back, but I thought that was going to keep him out, but not yet. But I don't know. Maybe he can show us something in these friendlies and the Nations League. So if maybe he can elevate his game, maybe he will be. He was the guy that everybody was looking at before the injury and before he had that injury during COVID period. But we'll see. Eric Palmer Brown. He has been exceptional over there uh, in Europe. I would say that maybe we need to give him another look. He hasn't played that much for the United States. He only played 3 games, right? So let's just put that in perspective. So I think that we should, at least give him a shot again. Anthony Robinson, which I was actually surprised. Jedi Robinson. I thought he had to go have surgery because at the very last game of Fulham, they got promoted to the Premier League, right? And I really thought that he needed surgery, but I don't know if he's going to wait until after the international break to go get surgery, or he didn't want to go under the knife. I don't know what's going on, but he has been at least getting that left back position like no tomorrow. He is the guy, right? And he has to actually get better on his crosses, and he has been better on his crosses, especially in that Panama game. So pretty good. Joe Scally, oh my gosh, Joe Scally, my gosh, like we called him up for that Mexico game at home in Cincinnati, and then he didn't play against Jamaica, which made no freaking sense. Like he should at least been given that shot. So hopefully Joe Scally, especially because Miles Robinson, he actually had a really bad injury in Atlanta United, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna make it back to the World Cup. I don't think he's gonna have enough time. But God willing, if there is a miracle, if maybe somehow, some way he can recover for the summer, and then he can play maybe for the last couple of games before the end of the MLS season, maybe he has a chance. But I don't know if it's a good idea to put a defender that just sustained a really bad injury into the game. Case in point, for those of you that remember the USMNT when they were in the World Cup in South Africa, that itself was a testament of how Oguchi Onyewu, remember him, the Gooch, he basically sustained a really bad injury at the very last match of World Cup qualifying, and he was never the same player again. And you can tell he was not the same player because if you go back to that, if you rewatch the replay for that game against Slovenia, he actually couldn't get the ball out in time for that second goal to be scored by Slovenia. So I think that we have to take into consideration that Miles Robinson is just out. That's done, and it kind of sucks because Miles and Walker Zimmerman were one of the good pairings during World Cup qualifying. They did not allow any type of goals, but now we have to kind of figure out who can we plug in and can have that exact same chemistry, right? But maybe Joe Scally could be that guy. He's been playing really good in the Bundesliga, and he is a raw talent, but I think he has enough. Like he can do it. He just needs a chance. I think Greg needs to plug him in to those friendlies against Morocco and Uruguay and just see how the kid does. I feel like he can do something well. DeAndre Yedlin, he's a veteran right there. He's been playing okay, I guess. He's been playing for Inter Miami, so he's getting some games. I kind of wish they would have asked maybe someone else. Who? Hmm. I don't know who I would get besides DeAndre Yedlin, but uh, my mind is blank right now. Next is Walker Zimmerman. So we already know Walker Zimmerman is going to go to the World Cup. We know that he is a locked in. He has been rock solid most of the times, but in his league play, he's been allowing these silly goals, and he needs to get better at his tactical awareness. Um, Now moving to the midfielders, right? Oh, but before anything, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? So the one name we do not see in the defenders is John Brooks, right? For what reason, I have no idea. Supposedly, Greg said that, he needs to figure out his club situation first, but I don't know if he'll get a club in time, especially because these were probably going to be the last friendlies to see a healthy John Brooks. I feel like it. it's like more of a personal issue than a tactical issue. I don't know. Greg has just been making so many excuses. I don't know for what reason, because we need at least a veteran in the back, and John Brooks is that guy. But I don't know. I don't know. It's frustrating to see, and we know that John Brooks is trying so hard to get back to this team. So let's go to the midfielders. Kellen Acosta for LAFC. He's one of the Greg boys. I would say he's getting a little bit better. He actually scored a goal afterwards, pretty good. He knows how to play as a midfielder, a defensive midfielder, and in case of an emergency, he can go back to defense. So no problem there. Tyler Adams, congratulations, Tyler Adams, for winning the German DPK Cup, I believe it is. I forgot what it is. There's so many like trophies out there, I just forget. But Tyler Adams won, and he was awesome. He had that little Mamba mentality. He had that iconic picture, like from Kobe Bryant. So Tyler Adams, pretty good. Luca De La Torre, oh my gosh, Luca De La Torre is so good that finally, Greg knows the value of this guy. He is like, look, Luca De La Torre is not as good as McKennie. He might not be good as Musa, but he gives you something. He gives you some pace. He gives you some tactics, and he knows how to break defense. Sadly, his club got relegated in the Dutch league. But I don't know if he's going to continue in the second division, or maybe other European team will get him, but hopefully someone does. Weston McKennie is back, and I don't know if Weston McKennie is going to play. I don't know if Greg maybe wanted to see how he's doing, maybe give him some minutes. I don't think he's going to play against Uruguay and Morocco, which is kind of sucks, because I really wish we would have had Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and Pulisic all together against these possible clubs. They're a good reminder of how we're going to play against, Iran, against either Ukraine, Scotland, um, or Wales, I believe, and then England. And then we already know that September we're going to be playing against European opponents. Oh no, we're playing in Europe, but I don't know if it's going to be European opponents. It might be Asian opponents. So we'll see. It's all the rumors so far, so I'm not too sure about that. So Weston McKennie, I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be, but I'm so happy that he's finally going back on training. I think what he needs is maybe playing for the Nations League against Grenada, right? Because that's not going to be a tough game at all. Give him some, give him some minutes. Don't tire him too much, so he can at least go back and relax and get a nice preseason, and then they'll be ready to fire right before the World Cup. Let's look at that name next. Mihalovic. Mihalovic is finally in the USMNT. Thank goodness. I have been tweeting like crazy. Hopefully, I think Greg is probably sick of my tweets because I've been telling like this guy is killing it in MLS. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, look, MLS as a league, it's growing. It's a development league, right? There are certain players in MLS that deserve a call up. Just because you're good at MLS doesn't mean you're going to be good in the national team. And sometimes the truth could be the same thing. You could be good in MLS and you could be good in the national team. Both could be true, right? So I do have the moments there where it's so tiring and frustrating that Greg kind of overvalues some team players that don't play really good in MLS and somehow they go to the national team. I just don't understand. So I'm happy that Mihalovic is good. He's been playing really well with Montreal. Deserves a shot. What can I say? Hopefully he gets his shot during these friendlies and also Nations League. Yunus Musa, he has just been electrifying. You know what? We gotta give Musa a lot of props. He needs a lot of support because ever since he missed that penalty for the Copa del Rey, oh man, it has just been brutal on him. So I think this could be a good confidence booster. And also he'll be happy to be with his teammates and that iconic smile that he has, man. What can you not love about this kid? Christian Roldan. All right, so let's get it out of the way. Congratulations, Christian Roldan, for winning the CONCACAF Champions League. Right, Seattle has become the first MLS team to win it in this new format. We already know that the Galaxy and DC United won it, but it was under a different name and it was a different format, right? But I don't know. Like, look, I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, but what is good about Christian Roldan? Like, besides playing in Seattle, look, he may be a very good Seattle player. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's really good. But somehow when he translates to the national team, he has just been giving stinkers. The only time he hasn't the only time he did play well was that second half against Honduras, all the way back last year in September. But ever since then, nothing. I haven't seen anything that convinces me that Roldan is, a team player. I mean, a good player for the national team. He may be a good guy in the locker room, but we do not need good guys in the locker room. We need people that can make a difference. That's the point of going into the World Cup, to win something, to prove something. But let's see what Christian Roldan does this time. Like, I don't know if he at least show some spark. Maybe if he can translate his form from Seattle to the national team, then we might see something, right? We might see something, and I will change my mind about him. But for so far, I don't see what is the hype about Roldan, right? I would have picked someone else. Let's see the next one. Malik Tillman, which is a very surprising name. So, for those of you that are not familiar, he's actually part of the FC Bayern academy, and what's interesting about him was that Greg has been a good recruiter. Let's give credit where credit is due. Look, we do talk a lot of crap about Greg, about his tactics, about his Greg Hogger ball, his verticality, but you cannot deny this man of his recruiting abilities. He is good. He convinced a lot of dual nationals to come to the United States. And sure, we have lost some, especially with Jonathan David, with Julian Araujo, uh, Alvarez, and Ochoa. But where are they in the Mexican national team? I don't see them. So you know, uh, here we might see something. I'm not too familiar about Malik Tillman. Only that I know that he plays for the FC Bayern, Bayern Munich, basically. Uh, so Bayern Munich, uh, he has a brother. I'm not sure if he's younger or older, that Greg is also trying to recruit as well to the program, and it actually it was a shockwave around Germany because they really thought that he was going to be in the German national team program, but Mac Tillman had other ideas. So we'll see how he does. I'm not too sure that he's going to be in the World Cup roster, but maybe he's looking to 2026 and he kind of sees that a lot of these players, um, like for example, Christian Roldan, uh, Kellen Acosta, they might be like just leaving, and then he can plug himself into contention, right? And especially think about this: the Olympic qualifying that's going to happen this summer could be also be another opportunity for Malik Tillman to represent the U.S. So that's a little bit of a professional decision. So a career decision, professional decision, whatever it is really good, right? So I'm curious to see what he has to display and if will you have a chance to play, right? Because we've seen this many times before where Greg Berhalter, picks up a guy that a lot of people want to see and you don't see him until the very end. It's like the same thing that happened with Ricardo Pepi. Ricardo Pepi chose the United States. We didn't see him play up until the end of I think, or at the beginning, between Honduras and the United States. So we'll see what Mark Tillman has in store. So now let's go to the forwards. All right. Brendan Aronson, he was very much missed, especially in the last qualifier. Happy that he's healthy. He is good. And there are rumors that he is actually going to be going to the Premier League. Leeds United, the one that Jesse Marsh actually helped not get relegated, are looking for his services. And I think they want to pay over 30 million for him. And I think the deal was like if Leeds United were relegated, they weren't going to sell him. And I think they were going to have him stay in Salzburg. But now I don't know what's going to happen. So it's going to be a very interesting summer transfer window for Anderson. Paul Arriola. I was very critical of Paul Arriola before, but you know what? His performances in Mexico and also in Panama actually has changed my mind a little bit about him. He is actually peaking at the right time, and hopefully he continues that streak all until the end of the season. He actually scored a cracker of a goal just a couple of days ago for FC Dallas. So if we can see that type of Pariola in the national team in the World Cup, ooh, he'll be something good right there. And maybe his aspirations for Europe can still continue because it was rarely cut short when he went to Europe and he had that injury, unfortunately. But he's getting there. He's getting there. Jesus Ferreira. He right now, at this very moment, for the U.S. national team, he is our number 9. There is no question about it. He is our number 9 for obvious reasons because he knows how to create space. He plays as a 10 for FC Dallas, but he plays as a false 9 for the United States men's national team. But he knows that role, and if he can connect with Areola, with McKennie, with Tyler Adams, with Musa, with Pulisic, that is a lethal weapon, and he knows how to score. This guy is good. So for now, he is our number 9, and I think Jesus Ferreira overtakes Pepe at this very moment. I think Pepe goes down to that second thing, but Jesus Ferreira is tearing it up, and I think as long as he stays to FC Dallas and continues to score, that is pretty good. Jordan Morris. Oh, another thing. Like Jordan Morris, I don't know, man. Like I feel like he lost a little bit of pace ever since he had that injury, but at the same time, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And he also did win with his teammate Christian Roldan the CONCACAF Champions League, and he actually was involved in a couple of goals against Pumas. But let's put it to perspective. This Pumas team was probably the worst Liga MX team in CONCACAF Nations League in the history of the tournament. So I got to take that with a grain of salt. But we'll see what Jordan Morris has in store. I just think that there are other players a little bit ahead of him, but I don't think Greg is going to call him. And the players that I think that should get a call up, in my opinion, Richie Lenzema, that would be a pretty good one, but I know he just got out of being injured and he's already playing and he wants to rest and recover and get this preseason ready, because if he can start tearing it up in the Dutch league, I think we can have a serious conversation of Richie Lenzema being part of this World Cup team. So pretty good stuff. But going back to Jordan Morris, I guess I have to just wait and see. For now, I am just as critical. I guess the Seattle Sounders players, I don't know. Like I am not anti-Seattle Sounder. Let's get that straight. I'm happy you guys won the CONCACAF Champions League. I was actually rooting for you guys. But when we're talking about the national team, those are completely different arguments and a lot of different discussions. All right. Different argument, different discussion. And like, I don't know if it convinces me, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, let's see what Jordan Morris has in store against Uruguay, Morocco, and then Nations League. So I'll wait and see. All right. Christian Pulisic, he's Captain America. What is there more to be said? Sure, he has been up and down, and we don't know if he's actually going to be staying for Chelsea. because as of this recording right now, this live stream, there's actually been a little bit of breaking news, a little bit, in which Christian Pulisic actually took off the Chelsea uh, information from his Instagram bio. I don't know if that means anything. Right now, it says that Christian is in discussion with Chelsea to see what his future is, right? Saying that, he was very uh I think he was just very unhappy because he wasn't getting quality playing time. He was always being a substitute, never playing as a starter. So I don't know if he's gonna leave Chelsea to another team. But then again, I don't know who is going to purchase Christian Pulisic. That would be the question right there. So there's been rumors that Juventus is actually looking for Christian Pulisic as a replacement for some of their players that are leaving or retiring. There's another rumor that Bayern Munich actually wants the services of Christian Pulisic, which will be the craziest story ever. Well, it's kind of like the same thing. Dortmund creates these elite players only for other uh, teams and Bayern Munich to take them, right? So that would be very interesting. And then there's another rumor uh, that Liverpool actually wants Christian Pulisic. Now, again, these are all rumors. There's no facts in them. These are all things that I'm just seeing in soccer Twitter, right? So again, take it with a grain of salt. Or maybe this is all just noise, and he's just trying to be dramatic about it, but he'll continue to play as such. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for Christian. So going next, Tim Weah. Tim Weah is been killing it in the French league. He actually scored 2 goals in the very last game of the season. He's been playing really well as a striker position. So maybe if we can kind of get another quality midfielder, think about this. Like, let's say we have Aronson, we have Christian Pulisic, we have Yunus Musa, we have McKennie, we have Tim Weah, and then we have Ferreira or anybody. That could be a lethal attack. I tell you that, right? Because if you give Tim Weah some space, he will punish you, right? So Tim Weah has been getting his mojo back, so that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, Haji Wright. All right, that's a forward that everybody has been circling, kind of looking, kind of curious to see because Haji Wright, for those of you that don't know, he was actually a youth national player, and he had a very, I would say, uh, I think he came from the Galaxy Academy, if I'm remembering correctly, and then he went to Shaka, like Weston McKennie, and he played a little bit, and after that, I don't remember what happened to him. I don't know if he went to the Bundesliga second division, or I think he did stay with McKennie until McKennie left to Juventus, and then after Schalke got relegated, I think Haji Wright went to Turkey. And ever since he went to Turkey, he has been lighting him up. He's actually has about 14 goals in the Turkish league, right? So very interesting stuff. He is a different type of striker, and that's the one position that we just are very thin of. We don't know if we have quality strikers because that's the one thing that we've been missing for the past, I would say, 4 World Cups. Um, so we didn't have a quality striker in the 2014 because Josie Altidore got injured, and then Aronson was also apparently had a little bit of a muscle sprain. In the 2010, again, Josie Altidore wasn't he was doing the small things right, but he wasn't scoring. We would have had a good striker, but Charlie Davies got into that accident, and we already know that story. In 2006, we had the discussion of 2 quality strikers. We either had Brian Ching or Taylor Twelveman. I think if Taylor Twelveman would have been in that roster, we would have seen something different, right? So the only time that the United States had a quality striker in a World Cup was in 2002, when they were playing in Korea and Japan, and that's when Brian McBride was the USMNT striker. So, man, it's already going to be 20 years since that World Cup. It's crazy to think about that. I still remember that World Cup very vividly. But now talking about Haji Wright, I'm very curious to see what type of player he is. I hope he plays against Uruguay, against Morocco, so we can see what he's all about and see what if he can connect well with his teammates. Right, he'll remember Weston McKennie because they were both with Shaka, so that would be awesome. So that takes care of the entire USMNT roster, guys. So what do you guys think? Who do you think was deserved a call up that wasn't included in the roster? Who was a person that should have been called up and is in the roster? And who are you most excited about being in the USMNT roster? Write your comments below, right? But again, I cannot wait to see uh, the friendlies that are going to be happening pretty soon. All right. So make sure you circle those dates. That's going to give us an idea how we stack up against quality opponents that are very similar to opponents that we're going to be facing in the World Cup. Because our first game we're going to be playing, we don't know who it's going to be. They're still trying to figure out the playoff spot between Wales and then the winner between Scotland and Ukraine. So the winner between Scotland and Ukraine will play Wales for the final spot, and that's going to be the team that's going to be in Group B with England, the USA, and Iran. Right. So the first game that the United States plays, it's going to be on opening day of the World Cup. It's going to be the last game of the day. It's going to be against any of those three teams. It's either going to be Scotland, Wales, or Ukraine. And I pray to the soccer gods that it's not going to be Ukraine, because that is going to be one of the hardest games, especially because of everything that's going on in Ukraine. Look, I love you guys, but I do not want to play against you guys, right? Because my gosh, we need some hope, especially for the United States, ever since they missed the World Cup the last time. So I really, really, really hope that it's either Wales or Scotland. I just hope, guys. And then on Black Friday, it's going to be against England, which is going to be the most American thing possible. And what's awesome is Fox Sports actually came out and said that the game between the United States and England is going to be on the national TV network. So you don't need FS1, you don't need cable, you don't need streaming. It's going to be for everyone to see on your local Fox station. So that is going to be big. So you gotta know for a fact that I am going to be live streaming that thing, hopefully, and I'm going to try to do it a little bit different. It's not probably going to be on camera. It's probably going to be a camera with like a TV, huge TV, and like a bunch of like American scarves and jerseys and stuff. So it's going to be amazing. Can't wait to see it. And then Iran for the final day. So it's almost crunch time, guys. It's almost going to be 6 months before the start of the World Cup. It's getting close. It's kind of weird knowing that it's not going to be in the summer, because that's what everybody was thinking. Like, what's going to happen in the summer, right? So it's gonna be feeling really, really weird. And also, I like to add, when are we gonna get a patch for the World Cup of 2022? Right? We need to know when that patch is gonna come up, because I want to know. I want to have. I would love to do a maybe FIFA simulator of how the U.S. could do in the World Cup, right? But overall, that is it, guys. And again, thank you so much for joining in, for watching this live stream. And again, we're going to see how the U.S. faces these teams. And I will do a live watch along of those games between the United States and Uruguay, USA versus Morocco, And the Grenada versus El Salvador, I might not do a watch along because it's Nations League. I'd rather look at the friendlies because the friendlies is a good indicator of how the US is preparing for the World Cup, right? So again, thank you guys. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that notification so you know when the videos are available. And I will be talking more and more USMNT as the days goes on. Make sure you follow me on Twitter for that. And I know it's been a long time since my last video of the USMNT. I'll try to do more videos as we go along. And yeah, guys, make sure you enjoy the rest of the week. Make sure that you guys circle those days for the friendlies that are happening pretty soon in June. All right, guys. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Have an awesome time. Stay awesome, and I'll see you guys really soon.